Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In this video, I want to share an in-depth post-burn review of Kringle Candle Amberwood Moss. This fragrance is one of 6 fall scents that launched over at Kringle Candle several weeks ago now. One thing I mentioned in my review of Vancouver Cabin yesterday was that I kind of wish that maybe Kringle had decided to release 2, maybe even 4 or 5 more fragrances in the classic jar lineup this year, because we obviously did not have the country candles with the fall lineup. This is the first season without the country candle jars. They were retired after the spring summer lineup. So yeah, we're used to typically getting 6 fragrances in the classic jar lineup. So these jars here, and 6 in country candle. So I kind of feel like the fall releases were lacking a little bit from Kringle this year. While I didn't always love the country candle jars, I was also a little bit more ambivalent about, the colored wax. That's not a necessity for me. Is the colored wax nice? Yes, I think it definitely sets the candles apart, but it wasn't like one of those things that, I was super passionate about. But what I did always appreciate about Country Candle was that it gave us, honestly, usually a lot more gourmands. For whatever reason, usually the gourmands went into the country candle jars, and a lot more of the perfumey or more conceptual scents went into the classic jars. So these jars here. Yeah, so I think that Kringle definitely should have beefed up the usual 6 candle lineup for the season by adding a few extra scents to kind of maybe cushion the blow a little bit of country candle being gone. But then again, I do think there is probably a good likelihood that we are going to see a fall reserve release, which just typically that happens most seasons. It hasn't been confirmed, so don't quote me on that, but this is just trends that I've seen. So I anticipate that we'll probably see a fall reserve lineup, and there could potentially even be a fall limited edition collection. Like how in the summer we got the Bottle Rocket and the Cherry Pie fragrance. So, just little maybe bonuses here and there. Again, nothing has been guaranteed by Kringle, but this is usually how this happens with each, seasonal release from this particular company. So I still think we have a bit more fall coming our way. Obviously, we also have holiday that should be launching in the next month or so here, potentially. We'll see what the word is on that. The ambassadors or affiliates have not been told anything about the holiday releases yet. So as soon as I know anything and I'm allowed to share, I will definitely do that. But as of right now, I think the fall lineup that Kringle released this year was really beautiful. There are definitely a lot of lovely, perfumey, conceptual fragrances. And I really actually have enjoyed those so much. But I do think a lot of people were missing more of the gourmands. Like I keep saying, I think it's easier for people to commit to purchasing a gourmand candle on a blind buy versus a more conceptual fragrance, which sometimes you just don't really know what to expect from those scents. If you're just ordering it online, you're looking at the notes, you're looking at the scent description, and you're thinking, okay, maybe that is a good fit for me. You don't know until you actually get your nose in it. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and dig into this Amberwood Moss here. If you're interested in it, I'll have it linked in the description box. I do believe it's actually currently on sale. So if you want to purchase during a sale, now would be a good time. I don't think you can combine my discount code with the sale that's currently happening, but if you pop anything else that is regular priced into your cart, the discount code will apply for that. And my code is just Melanie15. So check out the top of the description box if you're interested in this one. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into Amberwood Moss, which actually reminds me of a Bath & Body Works fragrance that I've never actually burned, but I'm tempted to now. So let's go ahead and dig in. We're gonna go ahead and get started by reading through the scent description, because I feel like this particular description here definitely sets a pretty good overall vibe for this fragrance. I just think it's a really good description of what you're getting here. Of course, we'll also go through the top, middle, and base notes. We'll address the overall strength and throw, and then we will end with the burn quality. So let's get started with the scent description here. Amberwood Moss. As autumn deepens, Amberwood Moss captures the essence of a crisp forest trail, where golden leaves crunch underneath your feet and the air is rich with green fougere and resinous fir. Wisps of warm amber and earthy moss linger like the last rays of sunlight through the trees. A perfect balance of freshness and fall's quiet embrace. The top notes are green and fougere. The mid notes are stemmy greens, lavender, and fir. And then at the base, we have wood, amber, and moss. So the fragrance that this particular scent reminds me of is Bath & Body Works Sweater Weather, which I have like avoided. Like it was my job over the years at Bath & Body Works. I don't know what it was about sweater weather, but I just was usually not in a place to enjoy fresh fragrances back when I, was a little bit more obsessed with Bath & Body Works. I just always tended to favor their gourmands. And so it was really easy for me to skip over sweater weather repeatedly because it came out all the time. But a lot of people loved it, and they really loved that fresh kind of vibrant take on fall that definitely is a very different experience from your typical, like pumpkin cupcake or maple strudel, or not that that was a scent, but you get what I'm saying. Usually when it comes to fall, a lot of people like those gourmands, but there are definitely a lot of people who also like these more fresh, vibrant, crisp, cool fall air types of fragrances. And that is what this is. I'm not saying it smells exactly like sweater weather, but it's in the same family. If you are a sweater weather lover, you're gonna be an Amberwood Moss lover. This is a really fresh, really nice take on a crisp fall fragrance. And I bet a lot of you guys are gonna like this one. So let's kind of talk through the top, middle, and base notes here. So at the top, you have the green and the fougere. The fougere is, it's obviously a French word. I'm not even sure that I'm saying it correctly, but it really is, it kind of describes like a fresh green type of note. There's a little bit of, mossiness. There's a little bit of sometimes earthiness with the fougere, but it's predominantly a green type of note. And you really do get a healthy dose of just green in here. It's like fall leaves that haven't quite turned to the colors that you're seeing in this image yet. So right before all of the leaves turn, and there's just this, it's weird, but it smells leafy, like a green leafiness. So that's the green note that you're getting here. So the stemmy greens and the mid notes really, I think, again, goes back to that green that you smell right before all of the leaves actually change, start to kind of dry out, and they fall to the ground. I feel like at that point, leaves smell a little bit more wet, not quite as crisp, not quite as clean. And this smells a little more crisp and green to me. So prior to the leaves actually changing. The lavender and the fir, you definitely smell, I think I just actually outright smell lavender here. It's not a lot of lavender, but it's definitely there, and it really does, once again, amp up that little bit of freshness and adds a small, I'm talking small touch of floral here. It's obviously specifically the lavender floral note, but it is present. It's nice. I don't always like lavender, but this is a really nice take on lavender. I will take this type of lavender any day. The fir, there is a true like fir holiday tree note here, I guess you could say. It's lovely. It blends in. It's definitely more of a cool type of tree note. It's not a warm, cozy, indoorsy tree note at all. The base notes of wood, amber, and moss, I don't get a ton of woodiness out of this one. Maybe like a hint of oak or something like that, but nothing crazy aggressive. The amber is the warm resinous amber that we smell so often from Kringle. It is delightful. I love it. I'm not going to complain about it. It's a really good amber. But it's the same amber that we're all definitely used to when it comes to the more perfumey scents from Kringle Candle. And the moss, yes, there is just a touch of like green mossiness here as well. I don't think anything here smells overly earthy. There might be a tiny hint of that, but really everything here smells a little bit more fresh, a little bit more green and vibrant. Definitely, I think, a cool outdoorsy fragrance, but not necessarily like in the middle or end of fall when that kind of decaying note starts to kick in a little bit. So as the leaves start to break down, they get a little bit more of that earthy smell to them. They smell a little more dirty. And that's really not what this is. This is fresher than that. So think early fall, right before everything starts to change and we start getting those really nice, cool mornings. That is where this fragrance lives. Right in that like kind of interesting little area of fall before everything fully transitions. I really like this one. I think it is a nice, fresh fragrance that I have actually clearly been enjoying because I'm definitely at the halfway point. So let me just turn this around here so that you can see that wax pool and the flames. This has now been lit for just about an hour. So I don't have the full wax pool quite yet. It's gonna get a little deeper than this. But the strength and the throw is a good solid, almost 8 for me. It definitely is quite a potent fragrance. It's one where I do have to be mindful about what else I'm pairing with this scent in the downstairs of the house. It is potent enough to fill so much that if I have it in the front of the house, what I have in the back of the house, because I usually have 2 candles burning at any given time, this is strong enough to where I have to find something that pairs well with it. There's definitely some other fragrances from the fall Kringle lineup that pair really well with this, so I haven't really had trouble finding it a match for this one, but it's not one of those that I think pairs really well with a lot of the fall gourmands. For example, there was one day where I burned this alongside the apple rum cake, and I really didn't like that particular combination. It just was, it's too much of a true gourmand mixed with too much of a fresh outdoorsy scent, and for whatever reason in my head, in my brain, that doesn't really make sense. Like I just don't like that combination, right? So for me, that was a bad combo. But there's other fragrances, like I mentioned, in this fall lineup here that would pair quite well with this one. So yeah, good strength and throw. So if you're looking for a potent scent, you'll definitely get that out of this 2-wick. This is one where I would never purchase the 4-wick. I think the 4-wick would be a little too strong, especially since this is not one of those fragrances that I usually gravitate towards. like, you know, the gourmands. But I like this enough to repurchase it again in the 2-wick format in the future. It really makes, I think, a nice transitional fragrance, and it's got a good amount of, like I said, oomph or strength and throw behind it. So if you're looking to really experience your fragrance from your candle, this is one of those candles that's gonna give that to you. So great scent, great strength and throw, and the burn quality, I have had no issues. So you can see here that we've had a really nice clean burn. Let me just zoom in a little closer so that you can see that jar. Hold on, focus. There we go. So you can see that there is a little bit of wax, you know, that kind of clings to the side there, those little beads. But as you go through each subsequent burn, sometimes those will melt down and join the rest of the wax pool. But that's a nice clean burn for me personally, and I've been really happy with how this particular candle has performed. Let me just turn it back to this gorgeous label, which, by the way, this label, gosh, I'm having a hard time picking my favorite label from the fall lineup this year because there really are some great labels, but I think this might be my number one. The apple rum cake is probably my favorite scent out of the lineup, but this label speaks to me. I want to be where this is. I want to be experiencing this type of weather. I'm just so over summer. If you haven't noticed, I have started decorating for fall, so you've seen some pumpkins in the background here. If you're wondering, I am filming my fall Decorate With Me series, so that will be going up the first week of, September. So stay tuned for that. Should actually be kicking off Labor Day weekend, I believe. So anyway, I would definitely encourage you to check this one out if you are a fan of fragrances like Sweater Weather from Bath & Body Works. If you're unsure about this one at all, I would say definitely think about getting the wax melts or the daylights first, but definitely try it. It is a really great scent, and it's also one of those that I think a lot of people might be willing to burn year-round. For me, I do think it reminds me, because it is like that early fall type of scent, it still is pretty seasonal for me, but I think it's one of those scents that could be a little bit more forgiving in terms of being a good option for other times of the year as well. So, all right, you guys, those are my thoughts on Amberwood Moss. I really like it. I will personally repurchase it in the future, and I think you should check it out if you are a fan of Sweater Weather. All right, have a great rest of your day. There is one more candle review coming before the end of the day here, so stay tuned for that. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.